And eventually we figured out the most efficient way to win is just literally copy them and their picks, and then it'll just go a lot better for you overall.
Yeah, I mean, that's some of the games that were played at TI, for example. They were swapping rosters, basically, so it was an equalish game. And where the humans got the edge in that tournament was they would play slower games.
So the Viper and the Witch Doctor were on the side of OG previous game. And this time AI will show them how it's done.
They're taking a lot of heavy harass here from this duo lane of the Gyro and Crystal Maiden. It's back towards mid Thompson. Actually nearly dying here. In fact, look, he does. The poison was too much. And there's 2 points there in the poison attack. And we're seeing once again in these first few minutes in terms of the farm, people coming out pretty even in CS. Down bottom, Seb's in trouble though. Gyro takes the kill. Seb did commit for the Crystal Maiden, but OpenAI taking the favorable trade.
Right? And part of that is because Earthshaker doesn't do anything for them past the Fissure usage.
See up top. Turn here with the Maledict onto Ana. Ana. It's got the Dark Pact. They do have a Viper in this lane as well now, so OG have to be careful. Again, the Gyrocopter just racking up these kills. He was able to kill off Jerax once more. As the chase continues top, South will be popped, but he gets cancelled here by the stun. OpenAI diving past the tower with the damage from the Viper and the Sven. They'll claim the Slark's life. They'll get no tail as well. The AI turning it up early here in this game too.
Ran forward at like 150 HP. Like Thompson took like 250 HP just from one poison attack in Nether Toxin.
And Ana is having a very tough time here on this top lane as he dies once more, 6 minutes in.
Just the way that the OpenAI has played it against OG. A lot more dominant in the laning phase.
Seb, he's trying to kill this Crystal Maiden, but the Crystal Maiden is just baiting Seb in. The backups there from the Gyrocopter, and this combo that's causing issues for Seb in the lane will continue to cause issues as the game continues. Seb will try and juke it out around the trees. He's doing a pretty good job of it.
No way!
In fact, he's out-juked the AI. Seb will escape with a TP out. He's outplayed the AI.
While still being able to keep a high amount of HP and eventually turn into a hard carry, but still just being constantly torn up every single lane he shows up into.
See an attempt here onto the Sven. These two heroes do not have the damage output to immediately kill him. They will find the follow-up wraparound kill towards him. At least they're trying, but with that Warcry out, he's able to run away. Another Fissure comes out. Surely this kill's going to be there, but no, a stun from the Sven holds back the Shaker, and he TP's out on 30 HP. OpenAI gets out of there with the Sven.
It just kind of reinforces the idea of, you know, where we were looking at the bars and saying like, oh, this is the objective we want to take, but here's also 95% now. Here's also the probability of us being able to take that tower. Here's the probability of us dying. I'm sure the Viper being close by and jungling kind of lowers their chances of dying in that situation.
We have Seb here once more in trouble as the AI chases him down along the river. He'll try and turn and bring the Sven with him, but it won't be a success for Seb as another death
is just so detrimental to OG as a whole because they're trying to get this core online to a point where he's able to run around cutting creepways, but he just couldn't really get to that.
And we see there the side, Jarrett's trying to step forward, but they turn immediately towards him. They have the Viper strike out upon him. Shrapnel's down here from Thompson in an attempt to hold. Assassinate will not get the kill off, and now again the CM goes for the ult, but they do have to disable. Hex comes out from No Tail. They'll kill up the Crystal Maiden, but OpenAI Viper diving past the tower on towards Thompson. The Sven coming back in on minimal HP to throw that stun off, secure the kill. I mean, what's sort of their best bet in terms of getting back into this one? Is it just somehow trying to get farm on this Slark? I mean, at what point of this game will Ana be able to have an impact? Because at the moment, they're just getting picked apart elsewhere. We're going to see the Sven committing onto Thompson. Thompson does have backups, but both No Tail and Jerax splitting OpenAI apart as Jerax will focus the Viper. Seb comes in with the TP. They have surrounded the Sven. OpenAI trying to stand their ground as this Sven, but he's stuck in the trees. They'll lose the Sven, OpenAI. The Viper's still good to fight, and they've also now rotated in the Gyrocopter. Seb caught on the front lines. Siphon will not keep him alive, or will it? He gets a second one out. It's a good amount of sustain, but surely not enough, as the poison will be there from the Viper. OpenAI getting both of the kills.
You know, they said that the AI doesn't actually read Fissure as well as we do, so that may be one advantage, but if they just keep on killing Jerax time and time again, and then they get a pick off and then they immediately turn it into a tower, especially you see this rotation happening as the Siege Wagon comes out. I've noticed this a couple of times. They will play around the Siege Wagon quite a bit, and it's probably just because it's such a good objective taker.
And this is definitely sort of the games that we've seen from the OpenAI in the past, where 13 minutes in they get this lead. OpenAI as it is, they're not going to make mistakes. They're not going to throw away this lead. You have to outplay them. You have to outmaneuver them. And at this rate, OG, they're struggling to certainly do that, as they'll lose Tops and Seb trying to move in. But the Crystal Maiden, with that massive amounts of damage coming out from the ultimate, just stands her ground. 2 dead. There will be a buyback here as Topson trying for some OpenAI-esque tactics to try and bring the game back around. But I don't know how much this buyback's going to do for him, if they're still without Seb, as Seb just failing to have any sort of impact this game as the Death Prophet after a terrible laning stage against the Gyrocopter and the Crystal Maiden. OpenAI, 14 minutes in, they're up to the high ground, onto the tier 3 tower. Anna will be able to jump away, doesn't even manage to kill off the courier. The Viper, godlike, diving past towers, killing off Topson. It's a dieback from the sniper. Seb, he's going to try and lead forward, but the cast bounces are out. Seb stands too close to Jerex. Jerex is in trouble as well, as he's forced away. OpenAI taking that top tier 3 tower. They're onto the barracks. It's only 14 minutes in, Cap.
It's just crazy. They just always put the Viper on the front lines. They're not letting OG beat back the creep wave. They're not allowing the backdoor protection to come back in. And anytime you saw, like, coming in from the side, they tried to use the Slark to be able to cut the creep wave immediately. OpenAI was trying to protect their creeps as much as possible to make sure that couldn't actually happen. They almost killed the Slark as a result.
15 minutes in, taking a barracks, an incredibly fast timing here from the AI. Jerex will fall as he tried to get some damage out onto the Viper, but the poison is too much for this underfarmed, underleveled Shaker. No-Tail will try and get back. Seb attempting everything to hold them off with the Siphons, with the Crypt Swarm, but he doesn't have the damage. He does not have the HP to survive. Seb is dead. The rack's taken, and OpenAI, they are not leaving the space surely anytime soon. Well, they had to back up actually because the tier 2 still stands in the middle lane. They've still got that to take, but it's 24-5, 13k lead. The all chat comes out as they announce their positions. I'm surprised they're not all playing position 1, because at the moment, at the net worth of these heroes, it looks like it. OG are just behind on every single hero pretty much. Only Topson is sort of in there, and he's only competing with the farm of a Crystal Maiden.
When it comes to once they sense they have an advantage and go for objectives, they min-max their positioning as much as possible. We're going to watch Jerex probably die again.
Yep, and almost certainly Seb as well. Jerex does not have the damage. Seb does have Anna with him, but this Slark only has Treads and a Wraith Band. There's nothing he can do. He's got a Shadow Dance popped. He will be able to steal up a bit of Essence Shift, but the cast bounces out onto No-Tail. Stun as well, out onto the Slark. Triple kill for the OpenAI Viper. Topson, he's desperately looking for this Crystal Maiden, but the movement's here with the Shadow Amulet, dancing herself away, utilizing the invis to make sure that Topson cannot get that final hit on her, continuing to use the Amulet, getting away out of this. Topson, can he find this? He does get the vision for the Assassinate, but there's the disable. The stun comes out from the cast, cancelling the Assassinate. The Crystal Maiden kept safe and alive. OG, they cannot catch a break this game. This is pure domination from OpenAI, start to potentially an early finish. 17 minutes in, there looks like there's very little chance of OG turning this one around. They will find the Witch Doctor pushing out alone. They may be able to at least claim the life of a Witch Doctor. Can they get more though? No, the Crystal Maiden again using the ult. Enchant Totem comes out with the Aftershock, does cancel the Ultimate from the CM. Finger comes out, but it's not enough damage to kill off the Crystal Maiden. There'll be buybacks from both sides. No-Tail gets back in, so does the OpenAI Witch Doctor. As OpenAI wants to continue the aggression, the Gyro up onto the high ground, past the tier 3, past the barracks, playing so aggressive here. Seb has to be careful of potential wraparounds. They're pushing in both lanes at the same time, the AI. Both the middle lane and the bottom lane under threat. Also, the team as well of OG getting dove upon, up past the tier 4s. Anna's trying to come in. OpenAI, they're low, but they have the heals. The Voodoo Restoration from the Witch Doctor, meaning that OG cannot finish off any of these kills. Anna will fall again on the Slark. He has got a buyback. He will use it. But OG, they are just crumbling and getting entirely crushed here in this game too. It looks like there's very little chance for them to play anything back in response, as once again, AI just collapse onto OG. They cannot fight back at this point. Their heroes, their draft, it does nothing when OpenAI's heroes are this far ahead.
Just watching that Witch Doctor be so far forward and still seeing the exchange be so worth it for the AI. It's just unbelievable the fact that they were orange bot imbalanced, huh?
And this
Viper is just
Viper's strong, but this was a Viper. This weren't your jungle Viper. You know, this was he was a proper player this game. He was making moves. He wasn't doing what you'll see sort of the Samaels of today do. He's playing in the action, in the lanes. This ain't no AFK jungle. Seb's calling out the Smurfs. But OpenAI,
I mean, between the poison attack and the corrosive skin, right, it was just so hard for OG to be able to fight against that. Like, they put the Viper on the front lines always, and they just couldn't sit back and just, you know, use the sniper and the Earthshaker to be able to kill creep waves and then have the Slark cut. Like, that was the ideas that OG was hoping for, but none of that was really possible with a Viper being this over-farmed and always forcing the fight.
I mean, if they can get this kill, it would be an absolutely huge run. He's 18-0-9 at the moment, but they cannot, they do not have any sort of damage to beat down this Viper, as once again, OG just getting absolutely floored in any attempt of a team fight.
AI, like, they never...
The trees come out. The offerings as well of mangoes to try and keep the OpenAI at bay. As OG almost certainly conceding here in this game too. I mean, 40-6, 19 minutes in. I mean, we have not seen OpenAI look this good. This is such an improvement over time from all the events in the past, the build-up. At this point, OpenAI are looking to play at full power.
Yeah, it just looks fantastic. I wonder, do they have a force staff or
if they
something
get
to
this
save
kill, it's worth so much. But
they're
not
going
getting
to,
it.
Owen?
They're not getting
Can they
it.
even do it?
This Viper will not die.
Every single time you think like, oh, this hero, he's too far forward. He's too low. He's like gonna get picked off. But there's always enough heroes behind him. Like, even in that situation, they were all the way over by the shrine, but they know that the Viper is just gonna take so long to eventually die that that they could be there in time.
And with the Ancient falling, there is no hope here for OG. They have a fortification. But with Anna dead, 41k lead. They're asking for the finishing blow to come in from the OpenAI, as OpenAI almost playing around with them at this point. Finger attempted onto the gyro. The stun from No Tail misses. Thompson's AFK. He's had enough of this one. As the Ancient will fall, and that is GG, game over. OpenAI taking game 2, taking the series 2-0. But honestly, this second game in particular, this is a fantastic example of something that, as a player of Dota 2, as a professional, you watch how OpenAI just absolutely crushed this 20 minutes of gameplay. And there's got to be a lot to learn from the way that they played this game.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's, especially like positioning-wise, them always being able to read, to play around each other, right? Like, the AI plays a true 5-man. They actually do not do a whole lot of splitting up after the laning phase. They just always kind of play around each other. At most, maybe there's like a 3-man squad and a 2-man squad, but every single time you think that there's a hero that's like out of position, there just always seems to be enough backup behind him to take the fight.
Sort of OG, as we see, just looking to be in sort of shock after that game. One of the quickest beatdowns they probably ever had in Dota 2.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. That was a bit of a beatdown there in the second game. As said before, by the way, this is a 3-part event, so you don't want to go anywhere just yet. But we are going to break down that second game of the series. 2-0 in favor of AI 5. And there was... We talked at length about all the changes that could be made and all the focus should be on buildings and the fights later on and lanes not that important anymore. And we were wrong.